I really encourage you to develop an emotional rapport with these modes too. They're not just little tricks to deploy that sound cool. They're their own mood. I always think about that mood. I'm Ronan DeLille, and this is my channel, Beauty is a Rare Thing. Today's lesson will be aimed at the intermediate student who perhaps has dipped their toes in modes, but is looking for some more structure and some more practical ways to develop musicality and intuition around using modes. Today, I'm going to share some approaches with you that really worked for me when I was starting out and developing my relationship to the modes. And I hope that through these methods, a lot is cleared up for you and you can see a clear path forward and how to integrate these modes into your own music. We're going to start by categorizing all 7 modes into either major or minor. Let's go and take a look. Now, major is going to be defined by its major third away from the root, and minor is going to be defined by its minor third as derived from the root. The archetypal major mode is going to be Aeolian. This is the same as the major scale, just whole half that you've probably encountered. The minor scale that we're going to look at, that's kind of the default minor sound, is Aeolian. Now, Ionian is mode 1, so we're going to give it a Roman numeral 1. And Aeolian is mode 6, so I'm going to give it a lowercase Roman numeral 6. These are the sounds that we're going to be comparing and contrasting with as we fill this out with modes. So the next major mode would be Lydian. Fourth mode, and then Mixolydian, which is the 5th mode. These modes, in terms of major or minor, correspond to the major scale harmony with triads. So to review, every major scale has a major 1, a minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, and diminished 7 triad. It stands to reason that these chords would be the same quality as the modes because they're from the same raw material. They're from the major scales. So our major 1 is going to be a major Ionian mode. Our major 4 is going to be a Lydian mode, which is a major type mode. They're all going to correspond. Let's fill out the rest of minor. So we're going to have Dorian, which is going to be our 2nd mode, and then Phrygian, which is going to be our 3rd mode. See, minor, minor. It's all going to check out with the diatonic triads. Now our last one, which is technically minor, but has a diminished 5th, is Locrian. Kind of the black sheep of the mode family. Each of these modes are going to contain an interval that gives the mode its specific characteristic. We can use this tone to create a chord, which is going to encapsulate the sound of the whole mode when it's played. I've got my 7 modes here, and we're going to fill out a distinctive tone for each of these modes, and then a distinctive chord that encapsulates the sound of the whole mode. So for Ionian, we're not going to really do one because, again, we're used to that sound. It's the parent scale, so it doesn't really have its own thing going. It is the mode by which all the other modes derive from. Instead, let's move on to Dorian, which, as its distinctive tone, has the natural 6. we can use the C minor 6 to encapsulate that sound. This voicing also works. So if you want to incorporate that sound into your ear, the natural 6 in a minor chord is the defining tone of the Dorian mode. Phrygian, the tone that's distinctive is flat 2. And the chord that generates that sound would be a major triad, a half step up from the root. So we're going to call that D flat over C. It's a minor scale with a flat 2. It's the third mode of A flat major, so it has a D flat right here. Now it's tough to make a chord out of this because this interval is so dissonant. But what we can do is do this kind of chord, which is a D flat major that I'm borrowing with my pinky, and put a C in the bass. And then if we go between a C minor and this chord, D flat over C, we can start getting the sound of C Phrygian. You hear that? It's a nice, really dark sound. So again, here would be C minor, regular C minor. Now here's C Phrygian. Totally different sound just by lowering one note. Lydian is sharp 11. And we're going to call it C major 7 with the triangle here. Sharp 11. Now this is a major type mode, but with a raised fourth, or a sharp 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the distinctive note about Lydian, the sharp 4. This comes from G major, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth mode. That's why it has an F sharp in it. The chord that's going to be associated with Lydian is C major 7 sharp 11. So it's C, F sharp, B, E. We've raised the F to F sharp, which brings us to the Lydian mode. This mode feels floaty, airy, kind of mysterious to me. There's a sense of longing to this mode too. I really encourage you to develop an emotional rapport with these modes too. They're not just little tricks to deploy that sound cool. They're their own mood. I always think about that mood. And I think that's really what they are. They're moods. Did you practice your moods today? People tell me I'm moody. Now you can take that as a compliment. The flat 7 is going to yield C7. That's for Mixolydian. This mode is defined by a major third and the flat 7. That's what makes it different from regular major, right? Regular C major would have a B natural. Now this one has a flat 7. So naturally, this would yield a dominant 7th chord. That's the chord that we identify with Mixolydian. We can also play a suspended sound over this that would also work as a chord, so we can get that by borrowing the 3rd fret and playing a B flat triad over C. That gets us a C suspended sound. This also works. So the flat 7 is the note that I'm honing in on there to really sell the sound of Mixolydian. Now for Aeolian, the flat 6. Remember, Dorian had the natural 6. This one is going to have the flat 6 here. It's going to be associated with the flat 6 sound like this. This is a chord, just a beautiful chord that you can play to suggest the Aeolian sound. So, dark, again, I feel like I'm in a forest when I play that, like a dark, moody forest. There's something green about it. Something nice and pure about it. Now the Locrian mode has several distinctive tones, and it's kind of a tricky black sheep one because it's got a flat 2 and a flat 5. But the easiest way to invoke this sound would be to put an E flat minor triad over C. So this mode has a flat 9 and a flat 5, as well as a flat 7. To be honest, this mode I struggle with. I don't really have a strong relationship with this mode. There are different versions of it, like the Locrian natural 2 from melodic minor that I resonate a bit more with, but this one's good to know. I mean, it's super dark. It has a kind of sinister quality to it. But I recommend you still spend some time with this one. This one is defined by its flat 2 and its flat 5. That's what makes it different from minor. Minor would have both of these raised up, right? This one would be from D flat major, right? It's the 7 chord. I'd love for you to walk away from this video with a good understanding of how modes relate to chords and also what makes them distinctive. If you start honing in on this column here, the tones, and you start being able to hear these intervals over a root, like being able to hear a flat 2, a natural 6 over a root, or a major or minor triad, you'll really be on your way to internalizing these modes and being able to use them in a way that's intuitive, not just, working your way around the fretboard and just pressing buttons. This is the deep stuff here. This is how you're going to really learn this stuff. So to summarize my approach, I think it's important to define these modes as major and minor, and then divide them even more by distinguishing what note in each of these modes makes the mode sound like itself. What's the characteristic tone that I need to highlight in order to really sell the sound of this mode? Once you've identified that note for each mode, you can take a basic minor chord or a basic major chord and add that distinguishing note to it in order to create the sound using a chord. Just to review again, if I have this C major chord, and I want to invoke the Lydian sound over that. I know Lydian is major, and I know that the Lydian mode has the sharp 11 as being the distinguishing note. So I'm going to find my 11 or my 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and raise that note. So that would be F sharp. However, with this voicing, I'm going to find the F sharp on top here. And there you go, you got the Lydian sound there. So the mode exists as a series of notes, like a scale, but it also obviously exists as a chord. So get to know the sound of the mode through these chords, through the distinguishing notes, and I think you'll have a much easier time making your way through this topic. Like my old teacher Tim Lurch used to say, you want to live in the world of sound. And these modes are sounds, they're worlds. So don't get lost in the blah, 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 nonsense. I hope this was helpful to you. See you next time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, so I can keep making more of these videos for you. Take care, everybody.